Hello guys, welcome back to our Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Within 6 short days, they encountered 21 incidents of attacks on their lives. The first day they encountered 1. The second day 3 times. The third day 2 times. The fourth day 2 times. The fifth day 5 times. The sixth day 8 times. Very clearly, the closer they got to the central region, the number of robbing and killing explorers grew. Luckily Luo Feng could check within a 20 kilometers area, hence, even though they encountered 21 attacks, they were only surprised occasionally, without any real losses. And right now, was the 7th day. Looking at the position of the light ball, we should be pretty close to the central region. I estimate it should be either today, or tomorrow that we arrive. Luo Feng looked up to look at the light ball in the sky. Its position was located exactly in the central spot of the entire world. Hence, as long as they proceeded towards the location of the light ball, they would be heading towards the central region. The closer we get, the more dangerous it'll get. Yesterday we actually encountered 8 attacks from robbers. Thunder God didn't dare to relax. Universe crystals, large amounts of universe crystals do indeed make the explorers go crazy. Luo Feng sighed. Star-level fighters and spirit readers. On an aboriginal planet, they were deemed as kings and even tyrants. However, in a sector Lord's world that was created with the formation of a large amount of universe crystals, they would go crazy. Everybody be careful. Luo Feng's expression changed. What's wrong? Hong, Thunder God, Aogu and Tainan. He looked at Luo Feng. 3 o'clock ahead, 19.2 kilometers. There are 50 explorers, 48 of them are star level 9 warriors. Luo Feng's thoughts communicated with the rest. Everybody changed direction. Quickly. Having been in this world for some time, Luo Feng's group had had enough experience and immediately changed their direction and fled. However, after just 2 to 3 kilometers of flight, stop. Luo Feng's expression changed slightly. They stopped suddenly. Hong and Thunder God were surprised as they came to a sudden stop. The strong weeds and grass below them dropped low as the wind pressure forced them down. What's up? Hong and Thunder God asked with their raw energy. There are 50 explorers ahead too. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. What? We have to change our direction. Luo Feng was very direct. The team once again changed their direction. Follow me. Luo Feng communicated mentally. The 5 beams of light became one, swiftly flying, heading towards the distant lands. Behind them were blurred images of lights that covered both land and sky, chasing after them. The 300 beams of lights that chased them were led naturally by spirit readers with spirit weapons below them, and the fighters were a little slower, focused on protecting the elite. Master, they are just about to catch up to us. Aogu said. I'll just carry you, my master. In Aogu and Tainan his eyes, they only recognize Luo Feng as their master. In times of crisis, they would naturally want to protect him. Luo Feng's eyes were fixed hard ahead. Ahead was where the grass fields connected with the large forests. Ahead. Down. Luo Feng's voice ordered mentally. The 5 rushed downwards, immediately entering the forests. The 300 beams of light madly rushed downwards too, continuing their chase. After several minutes, they gathered in the air above the forests. Captain. Don't bother with them. A cold and cool youth with purple lips, dressed in a silver armor and black battle shoes, ordered. This forest's area is too huge, it'd be hard for us to find them in there. Also, a small 5-man team probably wouldn't have acquired too many universe crystals. Return, we'll continue our hunt in the grass patches. Yes. The 300 beams of light swiftly returned. In the forests. Luo Feng and his team finally let out a sigh of relief. Luckily we managed to rush into the forests. Thunder God let out a long sigh of relief. In the forest we have the advantage. Hong slightly nodded. With the large amount of undergrowth and trees, it was easy to dodge and hide. And at this time, Luo Feng's surveillance system was a great benefit. Luckily we escaped quickly. If we were slower by just a second it would have been over. Luo Feng smiled. If they had been slower, then he would have to unleash the golden horned beast. However, if that had happened, the news of a golden horned beast in the world within a world would spread like wildfire. A star level 9 golden horned beast would definitely still be considered an infant. When that time came, even the undying beings would be attracted over. Undying beings, as long as they watched the entrance to the world of thunder, it was simply like fish into a net. Luo Feng wouldn't have anywhere to run. The golden horned beast's usage has to be at night. The moment it's used, we have to kill the enemies clean. We definitely cannot allow the news to be leaked. Luo Feng thought secretly, third brother, those grass patches are hard to hide in, just flying a little faster and the air waves would rustle the grass and alarm the explorers from before. Thunder God said. On the 7th day, Luo Feng's team had already progressed about 8 hours in the forest. The light ball in the sky seemed to dim down a little. About 120 kilometers away from Luo Feng's team, at the top of a huge and sturdy tree, there were 3 human silhouettes hiding within the leaves of the trees. These 3 even had binoculars, surveying down from above and looking far ahead. Captain. One of them lowered his head to look down. At the bottom of this sturdy tree, there were 12 humans resting, one of which was green-skinned with a face filled with scars and dressed in a dark black-colored alloy armor, with 2 axes on his back. He creased his eyebrows and looked up. There's prey, a total of 5 people. The scout above said. The captain immediately flew up and floated within the leaves, grabbing the binoculars from one. Devices such as binoculars were a very normal thing for explorers, with many places in the universe with high gravity force, or magnetic fields, or under the effects of spirit readers. At those times, seeing with the naked eye was the best method, and with the binoculars, naturally it enhanced this much more. 5 people. The captain looked through the binoculars, with his already amazing eyesight, and the directions from his members beside. He very quickly spotted 5 silhouettes appearing through the thick forest occasionally. Get up all of you, get ready to move. The captain's raw energy resounded. The group below all swiftly stood up. Captain, what's the strength of the prey? After risking it all this time, our later generations would be good for tens of millions of years. Many members without hope of reaching universe levels were simply wishing for the wealth to enjoy and nurture the later generations, etc. Quickly, be careful, don't let these 5 fat sheep discover us. The moment they discover us, they'll flee. It'd be very hard to find them in this forest again. All be careful, quickly, another 20 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 5 kilometer, everybody get ready, move. These 15 hunters suddenly appeared from behind a large tree, or even rushing out fiercely from behind the trees, each with mad speed, becoming beams of lights and killing towards Luo Feng's team. Wow, not bad. This 15-man team actually has close to 8,000 cubic meters of universe crystals. Luo Feng laughed as he handed to the 2 new storage rings to Hong. Big brother, you keep these. Hong extended his hand and caught them. The more of these little teams we meet the better. Right? Luo Feng smiled as he nodded. With enough universe crystals, we'll be able to buy universe-level slaves. That way, our Earth's foundation would be a little more solid. Right now, Earth, as an aboriginal planet, was simply too weak. A slightly larger wave of power would cause it to capsize. Hence, the 3 of them had to fight hard, including this 8,000 cubic meters. We have a total of. Thunder God lifted his fingers, muttering, in the past 8 days, we dug up a total of 96,000 cubic meters of universe crystals. During the time we rushed over here, it took about 7 days, we dug up close to 26,000 cubic meters along the way. Before, we had 6 attacks on us and we killed them. We acquired about 52,000 cubic meters. Plus today's 8,000 cubic meters, a total of, over 180,000 cubic meters. These numbers, with just a thought, one should know the answer already. Why do you even need to count with your fingers? Luo Feng mocked jokingly. Second brother, look at yourself, do you even resemble the head of the Thunder Dojo? From what I see, you are just a small hawker selling tofu, counting his earnings for the day. I'm just that satisfied. What's wrong with that? Thunder God blinked hard, rubbing his bald head. Have you never seen that much money? Over 180,000 cubic meters of universe crystals. This was a huge fortune. Even to the Nwolan Shan family, this was still a heavenly figure. A normal life planet's cost price ranging up to $1 trillion black dragon dollars was not bad. $1 trillion black dragon dollars is around 700 million Ganwu dollars. 1,000 life planets costs 700 billion Ganwu dollars. And with 18,000 cubic meters of universe crystals, the difference between that and 700 billion Ganwu dollars wasn't that much. World within a world, it's really a treasure trove. Hong couldn't help but exclaim, the construction of a world within a world is 10 times harder than the construction of a normal world. Luo Feng laughed, it needs to be even more stable, naturally requiring even more universe crystals. To build a world within a world, even to a pinnacle sector lord, that was still a high price. To the sector lords, casually joining any empire and acquiring a galaxy as territory, one galaxy usually has tens of thousands of life planets, some even with millions of life planets. The wealth within this world within a world doesn't pale in comparison to an entire galaxy. what we've acquired now is only a drop in the ocean. Similar to a few planets only. Luo Feng said it casually, however he was very happy within. The Nuolan Shan family's wealth was only about 1,000 life planets. When night fell, Luo Feng and his team finally reached the central region. At this time, their wealth had already risen to over 190,000 cubic meters of universe crystals. The reason for such earnings, 1, was due to Barbata's surveillance device, 2 was because of the combination of AOGU and the hybrid copper essence shard that gave them an overwhelming strength. At the central region of the world within a world, it was a beautiful flat land. Its surface was filled with peculiar short flowers and grass. These flowers and grass were about 10 centimeters high, very orderly, as though someone maintained and trimmed them. The land was flat with little uneven patches. My God, just how many have died here? Luo Feng and his team were extremely shocked in the night at the flat land. Late night, the sky occasionally emanated a little white light, causing Luo Feng to be able to somewhat make out within the surrounding 100 m area with a look. Just within that area there were over 30 bodies, male and female, their appearances similar to beast men, while others like that of Earth's, all of them dead, their bodies even torn open. Snap. Luo Feng's alloy boots, that pure alloy boots sturdiness stepped on some bones, causing the sound. This, Luo Feng creased his eyebrows slightly. Third brother, what you said before was indeed right. The central region is indeed the place where mass killings occur. Thunder God said seriously, we haven't entered this area for that long and we've already seen bodies in the hundreds. The entire central region is so huge, just how many have died? The central region has 99% of the universe crystals of the world within a world, hence the killings here are naturally the craziest. Luo Feng sighed, if we were here, we'd be killing too. Hong exclaimed. 99% of the universe crystals were here in the central region. The central region was the cornerstone of the entire world within the world, hence the universe crystals would be here to protect it. The cornerstone wasn't meant to be dug up. The moment it was dug up, the entire world would collapse. A world's construction was based on the universe crystals at the core supplying continuous energy. Naturally they absorbed energy from the universe. This was why there were large amount of crystals around the center. As for the distant regions, the places where Luo Feng and his team were digging, those were the scattered crystals, much lesser. Birds and animals die for food, humans die for wealth. That's nature. Luo Feng sighed, let's go. The 5 were being extra careful, heading closer and closer towards the most central part of the central region. The places that they passed by, they would occasionally see deep holes in the ground, obviously dug up universe crystals from before. Surrounding these deep holes were usually several dead star-level bodies, their blood all dried up. 1 hour later, get down. Forward. Luo Feng's team were all sprawled on the ground, coming to a slightly protruding hill peak, looking at the distance. From far they could make out some light, at the same time spotting many human silhouettes. That's, Luo Feng flipped his hand, retrieving a binoculars. This was something that they hadn't purchased before entering, however after killing the team from before, they discovered its special usage and naturally took it for themselves. That's a lot of people. Looking through the binoculars, Luo Feng clearly saw many silhouettes up to 100 kilometers away. Damn. Beside, Thunder God was also holding a pair of binoculars, muttering, that's about 1,000 of them, that's quite a number. Hong nodded. After all, they were close to 600 kilometers away from the large army. Another 100 to 200 kilometers ahead should still be within a safe range. Forward. Luo Feng and his team carefully but swiftly headed forward. As they grew closer, they began to hear shouting noises. Attention, all explorers. Normal worlds alone would make universe levels, and even domain lords go crazy. This world within a world is 10 times more than a normal world, 10 times more valuable. Hence right now on Kanglan Star, at the entrance to the world of thunder, there are already large numbers of universe levels, domain lords and even the great sector lords. Our Black Dragon Mountain Star Field's 2 sacred lands, 4 large organizations, 16 families have all brought their strongest over. The treasures in this world within a world is destined to be for our Black Dragon Mountain Star Field to obtain. Hence, all the large powers have all agreed, if someone wasn't from our 2 sacred lands, 4 large organizations, or 16 families, the moment they leave the world of thunder, they would immediately be captured. The voice from far away was huge and broadcasted over 100 kilometers. Luo Feng and his group heard it clearly. Obviously it was intentional. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God exchanged glances. They had realized this from Ming Yu's words earlier. After which, Luo Feng and his group continued to listen. No matter how many universe crystals, or even if you acquired some special treasures, it's useless. As long as you are not from our 2 sacred lands, 4 large organizations, or 16 families, the moment you are captured, you'll be dead. And right now, you all have a chance. As long as you join our North Dragon Castle, temporarily becoming one of our external members. Our North Dragon Castle, with our name and reputation as guarantee, will ensure that when you leave the world of thunder and return to Kanglan Star, you'll receive our protection. You won't be captured. As for your previously acquired universe crystals, no one will take them from you. All you need to do is join us and help us, the North Dragon Castle, get treasures. 100 Tiger Building, North Dragon Castle, Black Cloud Guild, Sacred Land Black Dragon Mountain, Sacred Land Ice Neptune Country. Right now they were all madly enticing explorers, with their organizations' names as guarantee, to not touch their previously acquired universe crystals, right? Universe crystals. Even all the universe crystals within a world wouldn't make the 4 large organizations, or 2 sacred lands, care less. Luo Feng nodded slightly. What they care about is the important treasures within Sector Lord Kabu's world. Those are the real treasures. Right now they are roping in explorers. Hong laughed. Seems right. The 4 large organizations, 2 sacred lands explorers that came here are all for the mercenary trainee exams. They are all elites. Since they are elites, there wouldn't be too many. I'm afraid the organizations would only have about 100 to a few thousand people. The real people with power are those with tens of thousands of explorers. Coming from different countries, galaxies and races. Large numbers of explorers didn't have any background or support. They were weak. However, they had numbers. Added together, they far exceeded the numbers of the 4 large organizations and 2 sacred lands. What should we do? Hong creased his eyebrows. Let's ask Haruo. Hong said, right. Thunder God nodded. Nan he, Aogu, you 2 help keep guard. Luo Feng said. Following which, Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God closed their eyes and their consciousness entered the Virtual Universe Network. Virtual Universe, Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-star Bay Living District, madness, madness, madness. Luo Hua rampantly tugged at his own hair, at a loss. He along with Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan were all sitting together surrounding a table, in their own garden sipping tea. Little Hua, what are you thinking about? Why so troubled? Luo Hongguo lifted a cup of tea and smiled. Why is it wrong? No, it should have risen greatly. It's the problem with the capacity, the movement of the assets in the other stocks. Seeing that there's momentum in the movement, it should either fall greatly or rise greatly, not stagnate this way. Luo Hua seemed in pain. Donghua Star Field is even rushing to sell off. How could this happen? How could this happen? The speed is not keeping up at all, not at all. What are you saying, Little Hua? Gong Xinlan smiled. The capital utilization rate is not right. Luo Hua looked up and glanced at Gong Xinlan. Mom, don't interrupt me, I'm thinking. On Earth, don't you play with the stock market a lot? What's wrong now? Weren't you very confident last night during dinner? Gong Xinlan said jokingly, it's different. Luo Hua shook his head. Every investment I make, I first have to establish my own working system. And on Earth, the way the stocks work, is very different from how the Universe One works. It's almost like a second-class world compared to a third-class world. Also in the virtual universe, I can invest in many places, like the Black Dragon Mountain Star Field, along with the Donghua Star Field, etc. Even in other empires, one never knows, a few absolute warriors may battle and destroy an entire organization. Hence, the investment is very complicated, it changes extremely fast. At the same time, these well-adept could lose everything if they were to meet with a barrier. Luo Hua shook his head. Right now I'm only a small shrimp, rolling behind people's frontal charge. You are still considered a small investor. Luo Hongguo stared. These few months, haven't you said that you've made 10 times more than your initial capital? Taking a few months to make 10 times more is considered normal. Luo Hua shook his head. The changes in the universe financial market are extremely fast, faster than Earth's by hundreds to thousands of times. The dangers are also hundreds to thousands of times more. I wanted to guarantee the safety of my capital, hence I only made 10 times of the amount. However, from yesterday to today, I lost 30%, losing close to 2 billion Ganwu dollars. What? Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan stared. 2 billion Ganwu dollars. Luo Feng had given Luo Hua 500 million Ganwu dollars before. Luo Hua had almost peaked at 10 billion Ganwu dollars after. Relax, I'm considered very stable already. Luo Hua shook his head, after which he smiled at his parents. However, Dad and Mom, honestly, I feel that the financial market in the universe is more meaningful, surging with momentum, gives one the feeling of being pushed around by the big waves. Thrilling is good, but you lost 2 billion Ganwu dollars. Your brother spent only 2.1 billion Ganwu dollars to buy Earth. Luo Hongguo was obviously unhappy. He was unhappy with the loss of such a huge figure. 2 billion Ganwu dollars is nothing. Luo Hua shook his head and laughed. Dad, Mom, you have to open your eyes and look further. The universe financial market, a few absolute oligarchs, even kingdoms that control up to middle-level empires, those are the true heavenly amounts of wealth. A few universe absolute warriors all mixed up in it. These waters are indeed very deep. I'm just a small shrimp. This level of financial markets that transcend universe empires, the lowest level of investment is 100 million Ganwu dollars. If not for Big Brother giving me a sum at first, I would probably be able to only mess around in our own empire, unable to participate in many other investment markets. Suddenly, in the garden of the three-level building, Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God appeared. Their three families all built on the same plot of land. What lowest minimum investment is 100 million Ganwu dollars. Luo Feng walked over. Big Brother. Luo Hua stood up. Just encountered some little trouble, lost some money. How much did you lose? Luo Feng sat down casually, lifting a cup of tea and drinking. Right now in the world within a world, the large powers were busy enticing others to join them. Luo Feng wasn't too worried. About 2 billion Ganwu dollars. Luo Hua said. A mouthful of tea was spat out right onto Luo Hua's body. Big Brother. Luo Hua looked helplessly at Luo Feng. My little brother was playing in the financial market of the universe, or something, and lost 2 billion Ganwu dollars. Luo Feng said. Hong and Thunder God were both stunned. Also, he still has over $3 billion left. I'm making it clear. I only gave him 500 million Ganwu dollars. Hong and Thunder God both stared at Luo Hua. Why are you all looking at me like that? Luo Hua seemed dumbfounded. It's normal, investments all depend on capital. A capital of 100 million Ganwu dollars, 5 times, becomes 500 million Ganwu dollars. And with a capital of 10 billion Ganwu dollars, 5 times, becomes 50 billion Ganwu dollars. Luo Hua said, the larger the capital, naturally the amount one makes would be more. Similarly, the losses too would be greater. What I need to do is to lower my chances of loss as much as possible, cutting down on the chances, and increasing my chances of rewards. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God all exchanged glances. Your account has received an amount of 4 billion Ganwu dollars. A message appeared on a screen before Luo Hua. He was stunned. Don't look, it's for you. Luo Feng looked at Luo Hua. Big Brother, why are you giving me so much? Luo Hua said. I have no way to guarantee no losses. The changes in the financial market in the universe are extremely fast. I can only guarantee that the maximum amount of losses would be 30%. Luo Hua was Luo Feng's natural brother, born with natural genius, along with studying under the largest investors and elites on Earth. He was definitely one of the biggest and most influential investors on Earth. Maybe the financial markets of Earth compared to that of the universe were considered small and immature. However, thinking wise. There were many thoughts in the investments of Earth, many old theories. It was indeed unique. At least Luo Hua, who had just entered the universe financial market for not too long, has quickly adapted and even made profit. Falling a little occasionally could only add to his experience and improve his investing strategies. According to Luo Hua's words, through his experiencing failure time and again, increasing his experience constantly, only that way could he improve on his loss and rewards ratio and control it better. With that, he would be better prepared and he would never let the failure knock him down. It's only a 30% loss, go ahead and invest. Luo Feng smiled. This financial market really has such a huge turnaround, it's terrifying. However, my younger brother does indeed have talent in this. Luo Feng thought to himself, in the future, whatever I earn, I'll pass 30% to him and let him invest. I believe that'll allow him to progress and improve even further. After completing his conversation with his younger brother, Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God contacted Haruo. Luo Feng, Hong, Thunder God. Seeing the three of you makes me happy. Haruo on the screen was extremely excited. There's been too many deaths in this world within a world, it's simply too savage. To be able to see you two, we are very happy. Hong laughed. Haruo, right now the large organizations are all pulling in explorers. Luo Feng asked, right? Haruo nodded. We North Dragon Castle, along with the 100 Tiger Building, Black Cloud Guild and the 2 Sacred Lands are all pulling in explorers. To be able to gather any treasures, the first thing you need is numbers. The Three-Axe Mountain isn't pulling anybody in. Thunder God asked, "Oh, the Three-Axe Mountain is different from the other 3 organizations." The Three-Axe Mountain is known as the leader of the 4 organizations. They do not nurture the youth. To actually be able to join the Three-Axe Mountain, the lowest qualification is to be universe level. As they don't nurture any new people, hence in this world within a world, you only occasionally see a disciple from the Three-Axe Mountain, with little people, hence they have no power. Heruo explained. Luo Feng, Thunder God and Hong realized. No nurturing of the young, hence the number of people taking part in the trainee exams was naturally small. No wonder Ming Yu looked for them, hence, it's mostly our 5 sides in competition. Heruo smiled, Luo Feng, right now we've already mostly confirmed the location of the treasure. However, the 5 sides are all fighting for it, hence they are all working hard to pull new people in. Luo Feng, you all should join our North Dragon Castle, just temporarily. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were shocked, you all are sure of where the treasure is hidden. Luo Feng and Thunder God said almost simultaneously, right? Heruo nodded, we have a 90% certainty of where it's hidden. Right now it's being watched by the 5 sides. If you don't join any of our 5 sides, you wouldn't even have a chance to get it. Luo Feng and the other 2 nodded slightly, they exchanged glances and made up their minds. World within a world, Dark Knight. Luo Feng and his team of 5 temporarily joined the North Dragon Castle faction. The entire central region had been split into 5 big factions. The North Dragon Castle faction, Senior, these are the ones I mentioned, Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God. Luo Feng and his team were talking to the people of the North Dragon Castle. Heruo was introducing the teams, this is my senior Kazan Lun. So it's you all that saved my 2 juniors, thanks. Oh, I still have important matter to attend to, I'll let Heruo entertain you all. Kazan Lun smiled as he left, his entire body was skinny, height about 1.5 m, eyes glowing slightly green, he had a heavy aura about him. They watched as Kazan Lun left. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God exchanged glances, obviously this guy didn't care much about them, it was only out of respect for Heruo that he came over to say hello. My senior is like that, please don't mind him. Heruo explained, no problem. Luo Feng smiled, our North Dragon Castle faction has a total of about 2,100 people, every 100 forms a square formation. The main reason is to prevent any chaos from happening. Heruo pointed at their surroundings, they were surrounded by explorers, every 100 of them gathered together, that way, if any group were to have any incidents, it wouldn't affect the others. Where would you like to go? There are 6 square formations that are pretty lacking. Heruo smiled, as close to the main formation of the North Dragon Castle organization as possible. Luo Feng said, all right, no problem. Luo Feng's team was situated in the 18th formation of the North Dragon Castle faction. Daybreak, on the 2nd day. After half a night of talking to the other members of the other formations, Luo Feng's team had come to know of many new things and news. So the treasure trove is there. Luo Feng looked at the center position of the 5 big factions. A dark blue castle was constructed there on the flat lands. The guesses of the 5 big factions are indeed rational. Thunder God nodded, in this entire world within a world, with the swamps, deserts, lakes, flat lands, mountain ranges, grasslands, etc., they are all natural environments. There's only this one construct. And it is located in the most central position of the world within a world. Above it is a ball of light. This sort of position for this castle, it is very likely the position of the treasure trove. Treasure trove. The treasure trove must be within this castle, however with the 5 factions around, no one dares to make a move. Luo Feng shook his head. Hong laughed, it's very normal, in the beginning, there weren't too many of the 5 faction people here, they were worried that the moment the battles began, it would allow a large number of the other explorers to gain rewards through the chaos, hence they began recruiting people, when one side does it, the others naturally joined in. In the meantime, they looked for an opportunity to begin their excavation and robbing. Who knows until when we'll wait before anyone makes a move. Thunder God muttered, they are not rushed. The first group of people from the outside of the 2 million army have just begun to enter the world within a world. Luo Feng smiled, from the outer regions of the world within a world to the central region, it would still take about another 7 days. Hence, the battle could very likely explode within 7 days. Luo Feng's predictions weren't wrong, on the third day of joining the North Dragon Castle faction, a big incident happened. World within a world, the white ball of light floated in the air, emanating light below. The sky was filled with blurred images of black silhouettes suddenly flying towards the 5 factions from afar. So many people. How did so many people appear in such a short time? There was some distress within the 5 factions. The group Luo Feng was in all looked up into the sky, just a glance and one could make a guess of the numbers, about 600 of them. Also from the looks of it, they are all from one power. 600 over people, to the 5 factions, this totally affected the balance. 5 factions, over 10,000 explorers, all engaged in soft discussion. Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Sakison greets the 9th Prince, Your Majesty. A booming voice resounded through the air. Greetings to the 9th Prince, Your Majesty. On the flat lands, the other 4 factions were buzzing with discussions. 9th Prince, Your Majesty. A loud powerful voice resounded from the 100 Tiger Building faction. A tall and sturdy-looking youth, on his forehead were 2 curved black horns. He looked up at the 9th Prince, saying, "This world within a world's treasure trove, for you, one person to take it all." Don't you think the blinding white light pierced right through that tall and sturdy youth suddenly, his head vaporizing to nothing? Silence. The 5 factions were all stunned. Within sight was still a slight glimmer of white light residue from before. Everybody was stunned, they understood what just happened. At that moment, a laser beam killed the leader of the 100 Tiger Building. Amongst the crowds, Luo Feng and his team were shocked. Thunder God said softly, "That's too fast. That laser weapon didn't even need any preparation time before it fired. It was indeed fast, killing in an instant." Luo Feng was shocked within. Back when he used the B6 grade laser cannon to attack the golden horned beast. That laser cannon still required a certain amount of time before it could fire, and just now, that laser beam didn't seem to require any time at all. In the air, behind the 9th Prince, the 9 bodyguards, all of them holding within their hands a weapon akin to Earth's singular rocket launcher, about 3 m long with an opening of about 30 cm. Let me introduce to everyone. C2 grade laser cannon, 9 of them. These are the latest models, we just acquired them. The 9th Prince surveyed the crowds below, discovering that the leaders of the other factions had gone all pale. He laughed, "Its power, one shot alone, can almost kill a universe level 2 warrior. This time, I came into the world of thunder to take part in the trainee exam. For safety's sake, I brought a few. I never expected this world within a world to happen. I believe no one else wants to get in my way." The 9th Prince Brolin surveyed everyone below with his gaze. Everyone just stood dumbfounded. 9 C2 grade laser guns, normal energy grade weapons reaching the C grade was already legendary. Very hard to purchase, even if one managed to buy one, it would be extremely costly. One C2 grade laser gun, in terms of price, wouldn't even be that much cheaper than a universe level 1 or 2 slave. An astronomically priced weapon, very well. Everybody is cooperating. The 9th Prince smiled as he looked around below. 600 of them followed suit. Following which, the 9th Prince took the 600 over people and a large army of the Black Dragon Mountain, and headed majestically towards the castle. The other 4 factions all hesitated but slowly followed behind, towards the castle. The crowds headed forward. Luo Feng and his team were mixed in with the North Dragon Castle faction. Damn, just like that is taking everything. Thunder God stared, "We are helpless." Luo Feng looked in the distance, at the most foremost person leading. He has 9 C2 grade laser guns, he could be said to be invincible now. He even has 3 to 4,000 people below him. The strongest strength with large numbers, along with the title of Prince, a Prince of the Black Dragon Mountain, killing those elites of the organizations without any hesitation at all. Hong shook his head, "This way, with his attitude and momentum, no one can stop him." Luo Feng and his team could only watch on. North Dragon Castle, Black Cloud Guild, Sacred Land Ice Neptune Empire, the 4 large faction armies, they could only watch as this happened. "Majestic!" Thunder God exclaimed softly, "This is power, big power." Hong sighed, "No one can stop him." Luo Feng watched quietly. The 9th Prince Brolin ordered and everybody simply stopped. And Brolin took his 9 bodyguards and headed towards the castle. Under the gaze of about 10,000 people, he carefully headed towards the castle. "Sangbai, open the castle for me." The 9th Prince Brolin pointed at the castle. "Yes." Behind him one of the bodyguards complied, with curly hair dressed in black alloy armor. A helmet automatically grew on him and wrapped him up. Following which he carefully walked towards the ancient castle, this ancient castle that no one had opened in 10 million years. The castle's huge door was about 12 m high, 8 m wide. The bodyguard walked up to the door and placed both hands on it, forcefully using strength. Over 10,000 explorers were staring at this castle. The ninth Prince Brolin too was staring at the castle, his face flushed red with excitement. Among the crowds, Luo Feng and his team of 5 were also watching the bodyguard push at the door from far. Following the bodyguard's use of strength, the door slightly trembled, flecks of dust falling all over. Electric snakes fiercely rushed out from the castle, large amount of thunder surrounding the entire castle. Within an instant, the bodyguard wasn't able to retreat at all. The electric snakes weaved through his body. Almost as though he was fried, with a kai sound, that bodyguard was reduced to ashes. All that was left was the burning red alloy armor. This scene caused the over 10,000 explorers to be shocked. The ninth prince had cold sweat beading down from his forehead. With a flash he hid behind his other bodyguards. If it were he who pushed the door, he too would have died. The electric snakes continued to revolve around the castle. There was an increasing amount of thunder and lightning. Gradually, the entire castle became a thunder castle, engulfed within the electricity. Luo Feng's team amongst the distant crowds were all shocked from witnessing this scene. Over 10,000 explorers all looked over, all equipped with alloyed armors, split into 5 big factions, almost like a metal army altogether. Under the glare of the thunder and electricity surrounding the castle, with occasional flares of green light, almost everybody's eyes were burning while fixed on the castle. That was the treasure trove of the world within a world. Oh. What's going on? The ninth Prince Brolin creased his eyebrows and looked. Your Majesty, the other explorer armies from outside are still far from here. It's still early, we have sufficient time. Of the 9 bodyguards, one lady with green hair said softly, right now we have the absolute advantage, we'll slowly survey this. The treasure trove in this world within a world will definitely belong to you. Brolin looked ahead solemnly, that lofty ancient castle enveloped in the protection of the thunder. Suddenly, the castle made a low noise, the huge doors of the castle began to slowly open. The door is opening. The ninth Prince Brolin, who was surrounded by his bodyguards, looked as his eyes gleamed, almost like a ravished wild dog spotting bones. There's a 99% probability there's treasure within. The huge castle doors slowly opened, allowing the people outside to faintly see the blurry interior. This made everyone who gathered outside to stare wide-eyed, with many even taking out their binoculars, etc., all highly anticipating to see what's within. Star level 9 warriors, maybe on several normal life planets like by land star, they could be considered powerful and tyrants. However, in the entire galaxy, even the Black Dragon Mountain star field, they were only normal soldiers, cannon fodder, bodyguards. This group of cannon fodder were allowed the chance to explore this world within a world only because of Lady Ronia's powerful background. This allowed 99% of this group of people to experience the most glorious moment in their lives. The doors are open. Among the crowds, Thunder God looked from far at the enormous Thunder Castle. The treasures are about to be taken away. Anyway, there's nothing left for us. Hong said softly. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.